This is IGN. Wreckless Abandon. This is your IGN review of Wreckreation by Luke Riley. It's been 6,496 days since the original release of Burnout Paradise. Not that I'm counting. With the original Burnout series clearly consigned to the same storage cupboard EA has been hiding the corpses of Westwood, Black Box, Pandemic, and all the other studios it shut down over the years, I completely understand the motivation for developer Three Fields Entertainment to craft Wreckreation. It's an unapologetic Burnout Paradise clone in a stack of very clear ways, built for a ravenous audience that's been starved of one of arcade racing's heaviest hitters for too long. After all, if you want something done, sometimes you need to do it yourself. Unfortunately, the one core component of its spiritual ancestor that Wreckreation couldn't recapture was its overall quality, and the result is a janky, unrefined, and often unsatisfying racer that I don't have much desire to keep playing. Wreckreation's resemblance to Burnout Paradise runs surprisingly deep, even for an independent studio that's spearheaded by former Criterion Games bigwigs, the home of the Burnout series. In fact, there are times when it borders on self-plagiarism. Such are the similarities, from the digital information ticker at the base of the screen to the familiar tone of a successful takedown. As such, Wreckreation often seems more concerned with recreating entire segments of Burnout Paradise's identity than establishing its own unique one. I'm conscious it's trying to do this with a fraction of the budget and a sliver of the staff of Criterion's classic, and that's admirable in its own way, but comparisons are unavoidable when the parallels are this blatant. From the opening race, it was evident things were awry, from the frame rate stutters when I hooked into a drift to the actual sliding itself, which feels a little more cumbersome than I typically like. Arcade racers live and die on their handling, and Wreckreation's driving dynamics aren't the best by any stretch. Its brake-to-drift brand of handling is straightforward enough, but it's not the type of drifting that lets you effectively alter your angle throughout a power slide. It's almost as if the throttle has no real impact on your drift angle once you're sideways. I became accustomed to the handling, but I certainly can't say I ever warmed to it. I especially dislike its idiosyncrasies, like the fact that cars will screech to a quick halt when braking in a straight line, but stomp on the brakes mid-drift and your car will simply continue to hurtle onwards, even if you're completely off the accelerator. There are also occasional moments of severe understeer, but I can't figure out what's triggering it. It may well be a combination of road surface and car type, but there were times when I just craved more responsiveness and needed my cars to snap back into a drift, and they wouldn't. There's definitely a lag to steering that blunts that zippy arcade feel. After the stunt-centric opening minutes, Wreckreation quickly settles down into its largely Burnout-inspired groove. The bulk of what's on offer here are standard races, where the goal is to finish first, takedown races, where the goal is to wreck a set number of vehicles, plus the occasional time trial and shutdown event, where you must perform a takedown on a special marked car while exploring the open world in order to add it to your garage. Sound familiar? You can progress through all this content however you see fit, hitting events in any order as you uncover new ones around the huge map. Unfortunately, this flexibility doesn't disguise how familiar every race rapidly becomes. The size of Wreckreation's massive map is almost certainly a major culprit in this. At a reported 450 square kilometers, it's an environment larger than a lot of contemporary open-world racing games. It makes for a great bullet point, but the reality is that this huge size brings with it major caveats. Its major problem is that it's extremely generic. It's a large, square island with no towns or cities. It's just ribbons of tarmac and dirt draped over vanilla countryside, where one side of the map feels no different than the other. There are no obstacle-filled alleys or bustling urban centers. It's just a big green slab with a lot of trees and rocks. I haven't encountered any memorable races because there are no memorable areas. There's very little to distinguish one race from the other, so ticking them off became tedious pretty quickly. There's also a bug I encountered semi-regularly when selecting Restart Race from the pause menu that removed most of the HUD and made it impossible to open the map. The only fix was to restart the game, which was equally tiresome. Wreckreation also introduces a new spin on its off-brand road rage mode, which adds cars you're not supposed to take down lest you receive a time penalty. I don't find this a fun twist, and I actively dislike competing in these. The penalty cars don't just chop precious seconds off your time limit. They don't even count as takedowns if you shunt one off the road accidentally. The worst penalty takedown events have 2 marked penalty cars you can't crash into, meaning every batch of opponents will only have 2 cars to take down. It makes chasing some of the high takedown totals extremely frustrating, and doubly so when it's being stingy with attributing them to you in the first place. I lost track of the times multiple AI cars crashed out during a slow-mo takedown clip, but I was only rewarded for one of them. As close as Wreckreation sticks to its Burnout family roots, it admittedly does bring a whole new pillar of play to the party in the form of its customization and creation tools, dubbed Live Mix. This gives us the ability to do everything from renaming vehicles to changing the weather and traffic density to even plonking down massive track pieces to create huge skybound stunt courses. Overflowing with ambition, but ultimately plain and with no style to call its own, Wreckreation feels like a supermarket brand homage to a series of better arcade racers, built with the user-generated content tools of another game. While slamming into my opponents rewarded me with snapshots of an arcade racer that's fast and engaging for seconds at a time, any buzz I gleaned was quickly snuffed out by unpredictable handling, a dull open-world map, samey event structure, and an assortment of annoying design choices and bugs. Wreckreation's IGN score? 5 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest Wreckreation updates, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.